CompTIA AutoOps Plus, often shortened to AutoOps Plus, is a certification for technology professionals who want to understand where modern IT operations is headed. Traditional operations work has not disappeared, but it has changed. Many teams still manage servers, networks, cloud services, user access, configuration, monitoring, and support tickets. The difference is that more of that work is now expected to be repeatable, automated, measurable, and easier to recover when something goes wrong. This episode is part of the Monday Certified feature from Bare Metal Cyber Magazine, where we look at certifications in plain English and focus on what they mean for real people building real careers. If this certification is on your study list, a free and complete audio course is available in the Bare Metal Cyber Academy at baremetalcyber.com, complete with a study guide and a second ebook featuring 1,000 flashcard questions. AutoOps Plus is especially relevant because automation is no longer a side topic for operations teams. It affects how infrastructure gets built, how systems are configured, how changes move through environments, and how teams reduce repetitive manual work. The certification is aimed at people who already have some exposure to IT operations and want to move toward automation-aware work. That could include a systems administrator, network administrator, cloud administrator, Linux administrator, technical support specialist, or cybersecurity administrator who works around infrastructure, scripts, configuration tools, or delivery workflows. This is not best understood as a beginner certification for someone who is still learning what a network, server, operating system, or cloud service is. It sits better at the intermediate level. CompTIA recommends roughly 2 to 3 years of experience in core operations work before attempting the exam. That recommendation is useful because the exam is not just asking whether you have memorized vocabulary. It assumes that you can connect automation ideas to operational problems, such as inconsistent environments, repeated manual tasks, failed changes, configuration drift, poor documentation, and risky deployment habits.
AutoOps Plus also fits into a broader trend across the technology workforce. Organizations are asking infrastructure teams to work faster without becoming careless. They want systems to be consistent, changes to be traceable, credentials to be protected, and deployments to be more predictable. Automation helps with those goals, but only when it is used carefully. A script can save hours of manual effort, but it can also repeat a mistake at scale. A pipeline can improve delivery speed, but it can also introduce risk if access control, testing, secrets, and rollback planning are weak. The certification is built around that kind of operational judgment.
The organization behind the certification is CompTIA, a well-known vendor-neutral certification provider. Vendor-neutral matters here because automation-driven operations is not limited to one product or one cloud provider. A professional might work with Linux systems, Windows systems, cloud services, networking tools, source control, application programming interfaces, configuration files, pipelines, and security controls in the same environment. The value of a vendor-neutral exam is that it can focus on the concepts and practices that carry across many tools instead of only testing one platform's menu options. CompTIA credentials are often used to show broad technical readiness. They do not replace hands-on experience, and they are strongest when paired with examples of real work. For a newer credential like AutoOps Plus, the immediate value is often career direction. It tells an employer, a manager, or an interviewer that you are thinking beyond manual administration and are trying to understand the automation model behind modern operations. Over time, the market value of the certification will depend on adoption, visibility, and how well professionals connect it to practical skills. The exam is organized around 4 major areas. The first and largest area is automation coding concepts. That does not mean every candidate must become a full-time software developer. It means the candidate should understand how basic coding and scripting concepts support operations. You should be comfortable with ideas like variables, functions, loops, logic, testing, versioning, source control,
infrastructure as code, and common problems such as syntax errors, runtime errors, and conflicts when changes are merged. The goal is not to make operations people into application developers. The goal is to help them use code and code-based processes responsibly.
The second area is system configuration. This is where automation becomes very practical. Systems rarely stay perfect on their own. Settings change, versions drift, patches get applied inconsistently, and manual fixes can leave one environment different from another. The exam expects candidates to understand configuration management, configuration drift, state management, local and remote approaches, declarative and imperative methods, and push and pull models. In plain English, this area asks whether you understand how automated configuration can help teams create, maintain, check, and correct systems more consistently.
The third area is continuous integration. This is the part of the exam that looks at how teams build automated workflows around change. Continuous integration can include automated testing, workflow management, dependencies, artifacts, task runners, orchestration, pipeline definitions, and secrets handling. The bigger idea is that teams should be able to validate work earlier and more consistently, instead of waiting until a late-stage failure creates confusion. For an operations professional, this does not mean you need to be the person writing every application test. It means you should understand how automated workflows support safer and more reliable change.
The fourth area is continuous delivery. This extends the pipeline conversation into deployment. Candidates should understand how changes move into environments and what can make that process safer or riskier. That includes release strategies such as blue-green deployments, canary deployments, rolling deployments, and in-place deployments. It also includes service levels, secure provider connections, command line tools, software development kits, identity and access management, and rollback thinking. In everyday terms, this area is about making sure automated delivery does not just move fast, but also respects reliability, security, and operational control. One mistake learners can make is treating AutoOps Plus as a buzzword exam. That is not a strong study strategy. Terms matter, but terms alone are not enough. You need to understand what each concept does inside an operational workflow. Git is not just a word to memorize. It helps teams track changes and collaborate on code or configuration. Infrastructure as code is not just a trend. It helps make environments repeatable. Configuration management is not just a tool category. It helps reduce drift and keep systems aligned with an expected state. Continuous integration and continuous delivery are not just pipeline phrases. They describe how teams validate and release changes with less chaos. Another mistake is thinking automation is only about speed. Speed is part of the story, but it is not the whole story. Good automation can improve consistency, traceability, security, recovery, and confidence. Bad automation can amplify mistakes, hide weak controls, expose secrets, or make outages happen faster. The exam rewards people who can think through those trade-offs. When should a task be automated? What needs to be tested first? Who should have access? How are credentials protected? What happens if the deployment fails? How can the team roll back? These questions are just as important as knowing the name of a tool. Preparation should begin with the official exam objectives and the AT001 exam code. Since this is a newer certification, candidates should be careful about relying on assumptions from older or unrelated exams. The known structure focuses on automation coding concepts, system configuration, continuous integration, and continuous delivery. Before scheduling, candidates should confirm the current exam length, question format, scoring details, delivery options, and registration rules. Exam mechanics can change over time, and the safest approach is to verify those details when you are close to taking the test. A practical study path should start with vocabulary, but it should not stop there. First, learn the core terms around scripting, source control, infrastructure as code, configuration management, pipelines, artifacts, secrets, and deployment strategies. Then connect each term to a real operations problem. Ask what pain point the concept is meant to solve. Is it reducing repeated manual work? Is it preventing configuration drift? Is it helping a team test earlier? Is it protecting credentials? Is it making a deployment easier to recover from? That connection between concept and problem is what makes the material stick. Hands-on practice does not need to be overwhelming. Start with small exercises. Write a simple script that performs a repeatable task. Track the script in source control. Make a change, review the difference, and understand how version history helps you recover. Read a basic pipeline file and identify what triggers it, what task runs, what dependency matters, and what artifact is produced. Look at examples of deployment strategies and explain when one might be safer than another. Study how secrets should be stored and why hard-coding credentials into scripts is a dangerous habit. The Bare Metal Cyber Academy can support this kind of preparation without turning the process into a full-time job. The free audio course can help you build context during a commute, a walk, or a lower-focus study window. The study guide can provide the structured reading path, moving domain by domain, so you are not chasing random topics. The flashcards ebook can help with quick recall, especially for terms, contrasts, and decision points that need to become familiar before exam day. The best use of those resources is not passive consumption. Use them to identify weak areas, then return to the objectives and practice deliberately. For time management, give extra attention to automation coding concepts, because that is the largest part of the exam. That includes scripting logic, source control, infrastructure as code, testing, versioning, and development lifecycle issues that affect operations work. After that, make sure you understand system configuration well enough to explain drift, state, and management models in plain English. Then work through continuous integration and continuous delivery until you can describe what happens in a pipeline and what makes a deployment strategy safer or riskier. Smaller domains still matter because a weak area can hurt your confidence on exam day. Career-wise, AutoOps Plus is useful for people who want to show that they understand the direction of modern operations. It supports roles where infrastructure, automation, cloud, and DevOps adjacent practices overlap. A hiring manager may not see it as proof that you can lead every production pipeline on day one, but it can show that you understand the vocabulary and operating model. It becomes much stronger when you compare it with examples. That might be a script you wrote, a configuration problem you helped solve, a pipeline you reviewed, a small lab you built, or a story about reducing repetitive work safely. The certification also fits well after foundational infrastructure learning. If you already have experience with networking, servers, Linux, cloud basics, or support operations, AutoOps Plus can help you move into a more automation-aware track. It can pair naturally with Security Plus, Network Plus, Linux Plus, Server Plus, Cloud Plus, or equivalent hands-on experience. Afterward, a learner might move toward cloud platform certifications, DevOps engineering, security automation, platform operations, or more advanced infrastructure work. The key is to choose the next step based on the role you actually want, not just the next logo on a list. This credential may not be the right first move for everyone. If you are still learning basic IT concepts, a foundational certification may be more useful. If your goals are purely audit, governance, privacy, or management, and you do not want to work around technical operations, another path may fit better. But if you are already near systems, cloud, support, cybersecurity administration, or infrastructure operations, and you can see automation becoming part of your environment, this certification can help you organize that next stage of learning. AutoOps Plus is ultimately about the changing shape of operations work. The future is not simply manual administration, and it is not automation without judgment. It is a mix of technical understanding, repeatable processes, secure workflows, and careful decision-making. For early career professionals, that makes the certification a useful bridge. It helps connect what you may already know about systems, networks, cloud, and support to the automation practices that modern teams increasingly expect. If you study with that purpose in mind, the exam becomes more than a test.
It becomes a way to understand where your IT operations career can go next.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.